Hey, Edith! I just changed my phone a moment ago. Got a new number, so can you save it? Also, my messaging account is new, so add that too.
Why did you suddenly get a new phone? You just upgraded to the latest model last year.
A lot happened. Anyway, you can delete my old contact. And make sure to block my old messaging account.
A lot happened? What do you mean? And why would you go out of your way to buy a new phone while you're on a business trip?
I'll explain later. For now, I need to get back to work. Listen, just make sure you block that account, alright? Edith, do you have a moment? I need to talk to you about something important.
Something important?
Remember how I suddenly changed my phone the other day? Actually, I was preparing for a fresh start in my life.
A fresh start? What do you mean? Don't tell me you're being transferred to another location for work.
No, this has nothing to do with my job. Edith, I know this is sudden, but I want a divorce.
A divorce?
There's someone else. No, to be clear, I'm already in a relationship. I want to leave you and be with her, so I need you to agree to the divorce.
Wait a minute. By saying you're in a relationship, you mean you cheated on me?
Yeah, I won't try to hide it. I was seeing someone behind your back, and I got her pregnant, so I have to take responsibility and marry her.
You've got to be kidding me. Not only did you betray me, but you also got her pregnant? That's unforgivable.
As a man, I have to take responsibility. Luckily, we don't have any kids together, so I need you to divorce me immediately.
You expect me to just accept this out of nowhere? I never thought you were the kind of person who would cheat.
Sorry, but men are just like that.
And now you're acting all smug about it? If I do agree to the divorce, will you take proper responsibility for your actions?
Are you talking about alimony? Sorry, but I have no intention of paying you a single cent, so just sign the divorce papers and leave.
Excuse me?
A wife who gets cheated on is at fault. I didn't do anything wrong. That means I don't have to pay you anything.
You've got to be joking! You're willing to take responsibility for your mistress, but not for me? If you won't do what's right, then I absolutely refuse to get divorced.
Shut up! When I say we're getting divorced, we're getting divorced! Now be a good son and sign the divorce paper.
Wait, son?
What? No, I misspoke! I'm too excited about my future child, that's all. Anyway, you just need to divorce me. No alimony since I got someone else pregnant. Just sign the papers and keep quiet.
My husband is sitting right next to me.
What?
Wait a second. Kim, is that you? You were pretending to be Dave and trying to make me agree to a divorce? What exactly were you trying to do?
Why? How did you know it was me?
Because you slipped up and called him your son. Plus, Dave is sitting right here, and he immediately guessed it was you.
Why is my son there? He was supposed to be on a business trip in Florida. That's why I timed this perfectly and even got a new phone.
You really went to great lengths, huh? Because of you, I actually blocked Dave's real account. But instead of losing contact, he got worried and cut his business trip short to come home.
No way!
And we were just discussing it, trying to figure out who was behind this. But I never expected the culprit to be you.
If only Dave had not come back early, everything would have gone perfectly!
Well, what can I say? He just loves me that much.
What?
He panicked after just a few days without contact. He's completely head over heels for me. The reason your plan failed is that you underestimated how much he loves me.
Don't get cocky! I will never accept this. My son deserves a cute, sweet wife. Someone like his ex, Rachel.
Are you seriously still saying that? Dave and Rachel broke up 3 years ago.
Shut up! They were supposed to get back together, but you got in the way. I wanted my dear Rachel to be my daughter-in-law.
You do realize Rachel probably doesn't want anything to do with this, right? The fact that her ex's mother is still obsessed with their relationship, she'd probably be disgusted.
That's not true. Rachel told me herself that she wanted to get back together with Dave. She was too shy to say it to him directly, so she asked for my help. That's why I've been doing all of this.
Wait, are you telling me you and Rachel have been working together on this?
That's right. We planned everything together.
Unbelievable. You two actually came up with this ridiculous scheme. A meddling mother-in-law and a desperate ex? That's a nightmare combo.
Now that I've told you everything, just accept it and divorce Dave already. Rachel is the one who belongs with him. I will never accept you as my daughter-in-law.
Fine, you don't have to accept me as your daughter-in-law. In return, I won't acknowledge you as my mother-in-law either.
What?
I didn't marry Dave to be accepted by you. Marriage is between the two people involved. It doesn't matter what their parents think. So if you don't want to recognize me as family, go ahead. It makes no difference to me.
What's with this arrogant attitude? Even though I've made it clear I don't like you, you're acting like it doesn't affect you at all.
Just so you know, Dave feels the same way. If I'm an arrogant wife, then he's an arrogant son.
Don't be ridiculous. Dave is not arrogant. He's always been a kind, filial son. He only married you because he was confused. You won't be acting so smug for long. He'll definitely come to his senses and divorce you.
That's enough, Mom!
What?
I feel the same way as Edith. If you refuse to accept her, then I have no choice. As long as you keep this up, consider yourself cut off from me.
Dave? What are you saying?
This is the only way, otherwise this argument will never end. If we can't see eye to eye, then we need to create some distance.
A son cutting off his mother? No, I know what's happening. Edith must have forced you to say this. I know you would never abandon me.
This is my decision alone. Edith is just as surprised as you are. I know you've always wanted a daughter, Mom, and I know you adored Rachel. She was sweet, domestic, and checked all the boxes for your ideal daughter-in-law. But our relationship ended a long time ago, so stop interfering.
But Rachel still wants to be with you. She told me herself. She even tried asking you to take her back, didn't she?
You even know about that?
Then why won't you give her another chance? She would be a much better wife than Edith. It's not too late. Just divorce her. You still have feelings for Rachel, don't you?
Not a single one. Not after she cheated on me with my best friend.
What? Rachel cheated? With your best friend?
Dan, my childhood friend. The guy I played baseball with since we were kids. My catcher when I was the pitcher. Rachel cheated on me with him. That's why we broke up.
You're lying.
It happened at one of our baseball reunions. I got drunk one night, so I asked Rachel to pick me up. That's when they exchanged numbers and started their affair.
No way. Dan, of all people. You two were inseparable. Our families were even close. And Rachel, I can't believe she would cheat.
And yet you still want me to go back to her? Are you really telling me to marry someone unfaithful?
Edith
isn't like Rachel. She loves me and only me. She's the person I feel the safest with. I have no intention of letting her go, and I never want to see you again. We're done here. And just so you know, I'm telling Dad everything.
But wait!
Don't ever try to contact us again. If you do, you'll regret it.
How are you going to take responsibility for this? Because of you, I haven't been able to contact Dave at all since then. And on top of that, my husband scolded me harshly. Thanks to you, I've been feeling absolutely miserable.
Huh? I don't see how any of that is my fault. This is entirely your own doing, so don't try to put the blame on me.
You're just as insolent as ever. You could at least show some remorse and apologize. Rachel was kind enough to comfort me when I was crying my eyes out.
Wait, are you seriously still hanging out with that cheating woman?
Don't be so vulgar. Rachel didn't cheat because she wanted to. Dave is also at fault for making her feel lonely.
What?
When I first found out Rachel had cheated, I was devastated. But she didn't run away. She explained everything to me honestly. She didn't really want to cheat. But Dave was always busy with work, and when he had time off, he was always out with his friends. She felt lonely, and she wanted him to be jealous. That's the only reason she strayed.
And you actually accepted that ridiculous excuse? She betrayed your precious son, you know?
As a woman, I completely understand how Rachel felt. Even I have made mistakes when I was feeling lonely. When it happens under these circumstances, cheating is understandable, so it doesn't count.
Hold on. Are you admitting to having cheated before? That's honestly disturbing.
That's not the point right now. Listen, I'm not giving up. A cheeky daughter-in-law like you is not fit for my son. I will make sure Rachel marries him instead.
If anyone is being cheeky here, it's Rachel. She got dumped, and yet she has the audacity to run crying to her ex-boyfriend's mother? Not only that, but she was the one who cheated, and now she's trying to weasel her way back in? As a woman, I find her attitude extremely off-putting. If she really wants to win Dave back, she should tell him to his face instead of scheming behind the scenes. If she wants a proper fight, I'd be happy to challenge her to a duel under the bridge.
Rachel is a delicate and kind girl. I won't let her do something so violent.
A truly delicate woman wouldn't be orchestrating this ridiculous plot for a reunion.
Regardless, I will make sure you and Dave get divorced. I won't give up just because of this.
Oh, perfect. That's a solid confirmation. Let me take a screenshot and send it to my father-in-law. While I'm at it, I'll include your little defense of cheating as well. If this ends in divorce, well, that's out of my hands.
Oh, wait!
Dave told you, didn't he? He said never to contact him again, never to come near him. And I'm pretty sure your husband already scolded you thoroughly for this. Yet here you are, contacting me without a second thought. So I'll just go ahead and report this, as I was asked to do.
No, wait! Don't do anything unnecessary!
I was specifically told to report if you contacted me again.
What?
Oh, looks like I already got a reply from my father-in-law. He says he's going to pick up the divorce papers now.
What?
Here's what he wrote. I apologize for everything. At this point, I think the best course of action is for us to divorce and completely sever ties. If we do that, I will no longer be your husband, and you will no longer be Dave's mother. With that, you will have no reason to contact them ever again.
No!
Also, it seems like he already knew about the cheating. He wrote, "She doesn't even seem remorseful, so I have no hesitation about going through with the divorce."
What did you just say?
I wonder how much he actually knows. Maybe he found out a long time ago and just let it slide. You should probably have a proper conversation with him about that.
No, I don't want a divorce. I'm already in my 60s. I've been a housewife my entire life. If I get divorced now, I'll be completely screwed.
That's something you should discuss directly with my father-in-law. There's nothing I can do about it.
I was really told to divorce. Right after that, my husband brought me the divorce papers. He told me to sign them immediately. No matter what I said, he wouldn't listen.
Oh, my father-in-law must be quite terrifying when he's angry.
And you know what? He knew all about my past infidelity. He knew and chose to overlook it. Back then, he said he was too busy with work to pay attention to the family. He believed that if his wife cheated, it was because he wasn't around enough. He thought it was something that just happened.
Oh my.
But, he said, just because he had let it slide doesn't mean I should act like nothing happened. He assumed I would feel guilty, but apparently I didn't seem to. He said he couldn't accept the mindset that it's okay for a husband to be at fault for being cheated on. That's something you, the one who actually cheated, shouldn't be saying.
It's such reasonable logic that I couldn't say anything back.
Then, after I signed the divorce papers, I was immediately kicked out of the house. They only let me take what little luggage I could carry. What am I supposed to do now?
I have no idea. Why don't you reach out to Rachel? You've always treated her like your own daughter, haven't you?
I don't need you to tell me that. I've already tried contacting her, but she's completely cut me off.
What?
When I begged her to let me stay because I had nowhere else to go, she said, "Why should I live with some stranger like you?" And that was the last I heard from her. I never thought she'd be so heartless.
Oh, looks like her true colors are finally showing.
Isn't it terrible how she's abandoned me like this? I've always been there for Rachel. I've been doing everything I could to convince my son to accept her.
You even justified all her cheating, and now look at the result. I've been cut off by my son and told to divorce by my husband. All my struggles have been in vain.
Please, Edith. I swear I'll accept you as my daughter-in-law now. I'm sorry for all the terrible things I've said to you in the past. I'll apologize for everything, so please help me out.
What exactly are you asking me to help you with?
First, I need you to help me convince your father-in-law. If you, as his daughter-in-law, ask him, maybe he'll cancel the divorce. And I want to make up with Dave, too. Could you help mediate between us?
I'm sorry, Cam. I have to decline all of your requests.
Why? I'm telling you, I'll apologize for everything I've done up to now.
I've always been the cheeky daughter-in-law you've described me as, so I'm sorry, but even if you apologize now, I won't be able to forgive you.
Wait, I don't know what to do.
Well then, I'll take my leave. Don't worry, I'll make sure not to cheat, and I'll make your son happy. You can rest easy knowing that. Cam's situation had grown more complicated as the weeks passed. The divorce between her parents was more than just the dissolution of a marriage. It felt like the unraveling of everything she had once known and believed in. It wasn't just a legal separation between two people, it was a death of a dream. The severing of the very fabric of the family unit that had always been her sense of stability. For Cam, her world was falling apart at the seams, and she couldn't stop it. In her desperate attempt to salvage something from the wreckage, Cam had tried to appeal to her husband. She had tried everything she could think of to reverse the divorce, even resorting to the most humble and desperate of actions, begging on her knees. The scene was heart-wrenching, full of emotion, and marked by Cam's desperation to repair the damage that had been done. She had pleaded, asking her husband to reconsider, to give her mother a second chance, to somehow mend the brokenness that had overtaken their family. But her husband, with a coldness that she couldn't understand, refused to even acknowledge her pleas. To him, the decision had been made. He had already checked out, emotionally and physically. His mind was set, and Cam was left powerless in the face of it. No amount of pleading or begging would change his resolve. As soon as the divorce papers were signed and processed, the finality of it all hit Cam like a tidal wave. It wasn't just a legal document. It was the end of her childhood, the end of her perception of what family was supposed to be. Her husband's indifference only made matters worse. While Cam had hoped deep down that her husband would somehow come to his senses, Dave, her son, had already come to terms with the situation long before. To him, the collapse of their family wasn't a surprise. It had been inevitable. He knew about their mother's affair for years. He had seen the signs and had been forced to accept that the people he had once admired and looked up to were fallible, human, and capable of making catastrophic mistakes. "I knew about Mom's affair," Dave had said one day when the topic of the divorce came up. His voice was so calm, so resigned, that it almost made it sound like he was talking about something trivial. "I came back from school one day and there was some guy in the house. I didn't think much of it, to be honest. I knew what was going on, and it didn't bother me that much anymore. It was just what happened. It wasn't even shocking." He continued, as if this revelation about their mother's betrayal was just another mundane piece of family history. "I couldn't be bothered with it. Divorce? Yeah, it was just a matter of time." Dave had a way of removing himself emotionally from situations like this. He had grown up in a household where things were never as perfect as they seemed. And he had learned early on that there was no point in clinging to illusions of family unity. Dave's detached perspective contrasted sharply with Cam's emotional breakdown. To her, the breakup of their parents' marriage was a deep personal wound, a betrayal she couldn't quite process. She had always idealized the idea of family, the concept that, no matter what, family should stand together, but her husband's coldness toward her plea for reconciliation left her questioning everything. She couldn't understand how he could walk away so easily, how he could shut her out like that when she needed him most. Her husband, in her eyes, was someone who had simply given up. It was during this turmoil that Cam began to direct her anger toward Rachel, the woman who had, in her mind, stolen her family, the woman who had been the catalyst for the unraveling of everything Cam had held dear. Rachel had always been a peripheral part of Cam's life, someone who never seemed to pose any real threat. But now, after the revelation of the affair and the ensuing divorce, Rachel became a convenient target for all of Cam's fury. Cam didn't just want to confront Rachel, she needed someone to blame, someone to hold accountable for the wreckage her life had become. Cam stormed over to Rachel's house, driven by a mix of grief, frustration, and confusion. She wanted answers, but more than that, she wanted closure. She needed someone to take responsibility for the destruction of her family, someone to acknowledge the pain she was feeling. So, she found herself knocking on Rachel's door, her mind spinning with rage and her heart heavy with grief. When Rachel opened the door, Cam immediately launched into her accusations. "It's all your fault. You took everything from me. You ruined everything. You destroyed my family." Her voice cracked with emotion as she shouted, her words tumbling out in a wave of anger and disbelief. Rachel, standing in the doorway, was taken aback by the onslaught. She had never expected anything like this, certainly not from Cam. In fact, Rachel had always thought of herself as someone who was just trying to get by, never intending to hurt anyone. But here she was, being accused of destroying a family she had never truly been a part of, being blamed for something that was far beyond her control. She stood frozen, not knowing how to respond, unsure whether to defend herself or apologize for something she hadn't intentionally done. The confrontation escalated quickly, with Cam's anger building to a fever pitch. She couldn't see beyond her own pain, her own sense of betrayal, but as her outburst reached its peak, a neighbor who had been watching from their window misinterpreted the situation. The neighbor, hearing the loud voices and seeing the heated argument, assumed something much darker was going on. They immediately assumed that Rachel was involved in some kind of fraudulent activity, perhaps targeting vulnerable elderly people. It was a hasty judgment, one made without any real understanding of the situation, but it was enough to prompt the neighbor to call the police. Within minutes, the police arrived on the scene, their flashing lights cutting through the tension of the moment. They were unaware of the backstory between Cam, Rachel, and the divorce. They only knew what they had been told. The neighbor's report painted a picture of Rachel as someone involved in a scam, and the police were now tasked with investigating it. Cam and Rachel were both taken into custody for questioning, their confrontation turning into something much more serious than either of them had anticipated. The investigation into the situation took hours. During that time, both Cam and Rachel were questioned separately by the authorities. Initially, the police officers believed that Rachel had somehow been involved in a scheme, a fraudulent scam targeting the elderly. The details of the argument had been misunderstood, and the officers had no context for the emotional chaos that had led to the confrontation. They treated it as a potential criminal case, gathering evidence and taking statements from both women. This situation was tense, confusing, and frustrating for both Cam and Rachel. They had never expected to be caught up in something like this, certainly not for something so deeply personal. However, as the hours passed and the investigation progressed, the truth began to come to light. The police realized that there was no criminal activity involved. What had occurred was nothing more than a personal, emotionally charged dispute between two people caught in a whirlwind of grief, anger, and betrayal. Rachel wasn't involved in any criminal enterprise. She was simply a bystander in a family drama that had spiraled out of control. Once the confusion had been cleared up, the authorities apologized for the misunderstanding, and Cam and Rachel were released. But the damage had already been done. The rumors had already started to spread. People in the neighborhood, always eager for gossip, began to speculate on what had really happened. The truth of the situation seemed to matter less and less as the gossip machine churned. Some people claimed that Cam and Rachel had been involved in something far more sinister, while others suggested that the entire confrontation had been staged for some unknown reason. Each new retelling of the story added layers of fiction and embellishment, making it impossible for anyone to discern the truth, with the rumors spreading like wildfire. Cam and Rachel found themselves unable to remain in the same town. The whispers, the glances, the judgment. They couldn't bear it any longer. The weight of the rumors was suffocating, and they knew that there was no way they could continue living in a place where every move they made would be scrutinized. So they decided to leave, without warning, without explanation. They packed their belongings and disappeared. Their departure was sudden and without fanfare. They didn't say goodbye to anyone. They didn't give any clues as to where they were going. They simply vanished. It was as if they had erased themselves from the town's collective memory. Some people speculated that they had gone to a larger city, hoping to start over, while others believed that they had gone into hiding, away from the judgment and the gossip that had come to define their lives. But no one really knew. The town was left with nothing but questions, with no answers to offer. And for Cam and Rachel, the future was something they would have to face alone, far away from the prying eyes that had once judged them so harshly. As the weeks passed after their departure, the town continued to buzz with rumors. The whispers about Cam and Rachel's sudden disappearance didn't die down. If anything, they grew louder, fueled by curiosity and a need for resolution. People filled in the blanks with their own theories. Some believed that Cam and Rachel had gone off together, rekindling some sort of forbidden relationship. Others thought that they had run away to escape the consequences of their actions. The gossip continued to spread, morphing into something almost mythical, as if the two women had become characters in a local legend. For Cam and Rachel, the decision to leave was as much about protecting themselves from the suffocating judgment of the townspeople as it was about seeking a fresh start. In the quiet aftermath of their departure, neither of them could escape the emotional scars that had been left behind. Despite the quiet, the weight of everything they had gone through continued to press heavily on them. Cam had lost her family. Rachel had lost her sense of normalcy, and both had been thrust into a reality they never expected to face. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Bristol, what do I do? David, my precious son, something terrible happened to him.
What happened, Mom? Did something happen to David?
The hospital just called. David was in a traffic accident.
What? A traffic accident?
I just gave him a motorcycle for his birthday the other day. Apparently, he got into a solo crash while riding it. If I hadn't given him that bike, maybe the accident wouldn't have happened.
Hold on, you just gave him a motorcycle? You seriously bought something like that for his birthday? Where the hell did you even get the money?
Don't be ridiculous. You know I'm living off a pension. I don't have money like that. I used your account to pay for the bike. It was a big one, cost around $30,000. Excuse me?
You took more money from my account without asking, and you spent $30,000? What were you thinking?
I had no choice. Your father's inheritance is long gone, and I've got nothing left. I'm living off scraps, and you expect me not to celebrate my own son's birthday?
A message or a phone call would have been plenty. You've always spoiled David like this. You've never given me anything for my birthday. Not once.
Oh, shut up. David is the eldest son. Of course he gets special treatment. He's not like you.
That doesn't give you the right to steal my savings. And $30,000? Are you serious?
A boy like him deserves a cool bike. Besides, guess what? David just got hired by a top-tier company, so it was part birthday, part celebration.
Wait, he got hired by a big company?
Of course! He's my son, after all. Apparently, someone scouted him while he was still at his old job. He got an amazing offer, great salary, benefits, everything. He started working for one of the best firms out there.
And then he crashes his bike right after. Talk about bad timing.
Fortunately, it's not life-threatening. He's got some fractures, but nothing critical.
Oh, thank God. You scared me half to death saying it was serious.
It is serious. Guess where he fractured himself? His nose! And they say it won't heal back to normal.
You've got to be kidding. Facial fractures?
His helmet was loose. It flew off from the impact and his face smashed into the ground.
Ugh, that sounds painful.
Even if his body heals, his face might never be the same. He had such a nice face, too. That's why I've decided David has to get plastic surgery.
Wait, wouldn't insurance cover that?
I already checked. Insurance doesn't cover cosmetic surgery. We'd have to pay out of pocket several $1,000s at least.
That much?
But listen, in Korea you can get it done cheaper. I found a clinic that'll do facial reconstruction for around $1,800. So, you're going to cover the cost and make all the travel arrangements.
What? I have to pay for his surgery and organize a whole medical trip too?
Well, obviously. I don't have the money, and I don't know how to book trips abroad.
No way, just let David pay for it himself.
How could you say that? He's already broken, body and face. Don't you want to help your brother just a little? You're his sister.
I literally just had $30,000 stolen from me.
Fine. I'll find a way to pay you back for the surgery. Happy now?
If you actually pay me back, then fine. I'll cover the cost for now.
Good. Then make sure everything's ready so David can get the surgery as soon as he's discharged. I'll be staying at the hospital with him full-time starting today. You handle everything else. Got it? The surgery was a total success! There's still some downtime, sure, but he'll be back to normal soon. Better than normal, actually. I told the doctor to make his nose higher than before, and I figured, why not go all in? So now he has double eyelids, too. David's going to be even more handsome than ever.
Well, I'm glad it went smoothly.
Really, I mean it. This is all thanks to you, Bristol. You got the money together right away. You found that wonderful clinic in Korea. I honestly don't know what I would have done without you.
Wow, that's probably the nicest thing you've said to me in my whole life. Kind of pathetic that I'm so surprised, but thanks, I guess.
Well, this is the last time we'll be speaking. Figured I should toss you a compliment before cutting you off for good. Be a little merciful on your way out, you know.
What do you mean, last time?
Oh, come on. You don't seriously think I need you anymore, do you? You've been a reliable little ATM, but now your job is done. Pack up your things and get out. David's coming home, and we don't have room for useless extras.
Are you kidding right now?
David's going to be living here during his recovery. He can't be alone. He needs someone to take care of him. And having you under the same roof? Ugh. You'd just get in the way, so be a good little sister and leave quietly, would you?
Let me get this straight. I paid for David's surgery. I arranged the flights, found the doctor, booked the hotel, transferred thousands of dollars in less than a week.
And now you're kicking me out? That's right. You did your part and I'm oh so grateful. But we're done now. David's all fixed up and I've got my real child back. We don't need you anymore.
You've never needed me, have you? You've always treated me like an afterthought. But I'm your daughter too. Or was I ever?
Not really. You were never special like David. But once you started earning your own money, I figured, why not keep you around, like a piggy bank that walks and talks?
Wow, you really mean that? I used to think you just didn't know how to show affection. Turns out, you just never had any for me.
Please don't act so surprised. When David moved to New York, I was devastated. But then your father passed, and I couldn't be alone. So I kept you here. You were the stand-in, nothing more.
You stopped me from taking my dream job, told me I owed it to you to stay. I thought I was doing something good, something right. But to you, I was just filler.
You're catching on. Not that you were ever close to replacing David, but you helped me get by. And now that he's back, you can disappear. Unbelievable. Oh, come on, don't make this dramatic. It's not like you were going to live here forever anyway. Besides, now you can finally go find a life of your own or whatever. You're free! Isn't that great?
You know what? Fine. I'll go. Right now. But don't ever call me again. Don't text, don't show up, don't send David to beg me for money next time he wrecks another bike. You're on your own. Both of you.
Excuse me? What did you just say about my son?
Your precious David? The reckless idiot who crashed a $30,000 bike 2 weeks after you gifted it with my stolen money? Yeah, good luck living off his salary once your bills start stacking. But don't worry, I won't be around to say I told you so.
You ungrateful little. You're nothing but a bitter, used-up ATM!
And you're nothing but a parasite who's about to lose her last host. Enjoy the silence when I'm gone. You won't hear it again from me.
Get out! Now!
Gladly.
Bristol, please, help me now. Just now, some strange men came to the house. They took David with them.
Calm down. It's okay. They're probably people David owed money to.
What?
They must have found out he was back and came to collect. If David pays them back, they'll let him go.
Hold on. What do you mean, people he owed money to? Are you telling me David had debt?
Yeah, seems like it. When I found out, the total was already pretty high. About $80,000, give or take.
$80,000? He never told me that. And why do you know this and I don't?
I found out when he was hospitalized from the bike accident. I was holding on to David's phone, remember?
Right, his phone broke in the crash and I had to buy him a new one and transfer all the data.
While I was handling that, his old phone kept blowing up. It was non-stop, so eventually I answered once. Just once. Turned out it was a loan shark calling to collect.
No way!
Once I explained the situation, they told me a lot. He's borrowed from multiple places. The total was close to $80,000, and he never got hired at a top company.
What?
That whole big promotion thing, total lie. He got fired from his old job years ago. He hasn't worked since. He's been living off who knows what. Apparently, that's when he started borrowing all that money.
You've got to be kidding me!
He racked up debts everywhere, then just ghosted people. The day of the crash, he was actually running from debt collectors. He panicked, sped up, and lost control of the bike.
And you? What did you do?
As thanks for the info, I gave them the address to the house. David had given them a fake one before, so I helped them find the real one. That's probably why they came to pick him up.
You what? You gave them our home address, so the reason they took David is your fault?
No, David's the one who took out loans and refused to pay them back. I just helped people who were desperate to find him. You borrow, you pay. That's how the world works.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but do you think they'll let him go?
If the debt gets repaid, probably. If you're that worried you could pay it off, I'm sure they'll bring him back right away.
I don't have that kind of money. Bristol, then you pay it for him. Help him, please. You have to bring David back.
Nope, not giving a single cent.
What?
I told you when I left the house, remember? I said I was done. No more drama, no more cleaning up your messes. Whatever happens, I'm not part of it anymore. So yeah, bye-bye.
Please, Bristol, I swear I'll pay you back later. Just help me out this one time.
Oh wow, look who's still alive. Kind of bold texting me like this, huh? You must not be in that much trouble.
No, I am! I begged them to let me message you! Please, I'm asking you, can you cover my debt, just temporarily?
Hard pass. If that's all, then goodbye.
Wait. I know you hate me. Mom always spoiled me and ignored you, huh? But that wasn't my fault. You're my only sister. Come on, you have to help your big brother.
Huh?
It was Mom's fault, all of it. I never asked her to treat me like that. I'm a victim too, you know, just like you. We're both her kids. Doesn't that mean you should help me?
Sorry, but no. I hate you too, just so you know. So stop acting like some innocent victim.
What?
Yeah, Mom's the worst. She never treated us equally, always all over you. But you weren't any better. You loved watching her treat me like trash. You'd laugh while I got ignored or scolded.
That was... I mean...
You always acted like the perfect son around our parents. But when they weren't around, you were a nightmare. You'd break my toys, steal my snacks, make me cry just for fun. I remember everything.
That's because it was how we were raised. I was just a kid too. I didn't know better, okay? I thought it was fine to treat you like that.
Yeah, not buying it. Say whatever you want. It changes nothing. You can beg or apologize all you want. I don't forgive you. Hope you find someone else willing to bail you out. Bye. Bristol, please help us. I'm begging you. I'll apologize for everything, every horrible thing I ever said or did. Just this once, please. Are you serious right now? Didn't you say you'd never need me? That you'd never regret kicking me out? I was wrong. I was so wrong. David, he's not the same anymore. I thought if he came home, things would get better. But it's worse now. Much worse. He finally came back, right? So you got what you wanted. You said you'd wait forever if you had to. He came back with nothing, Bristol. Not even his dignity. He walked through that door in clothes he must have picked out of a trash bin. His shoes didn't even match. He couldn't even look me in the eye. Yeah, that tracks. And now the whole neighborhood knows. The debt, the lies, the fact that he never had a real job, it's all out in the open. The whispers, the stares. They used to admire me for raising such a promising young man. Now they just feel sorry for me. Or worse, they laugh. So now it matters, now that the image is shattered. Not when I was the one suffering under your favoritism or when you were turning a blind eye. I tried to fix it, I really did. I thought maybe if I could just find him a good woman, settle him down, maybe that would turn things around. But no one will even look at him, not one person. Of course not. He's got debt taller than he is, no job, no drive, and comes with a mother who can't let go. It doesn't matter how symmetrical his nose is, no one's gonna sign up for that disaster package. I don't know what to do anymore. I cleaned up his messes, sold my jewelry, even gave up on retiring in peace. And now, he calls me names. He takes money out of my wallet without asking. He screams at me if there's not enough for what he wants. He calls me an ATM hag, Bristol. My son, my sweet, beautiful boy, calls me that. Every day I see less and less of the boy I raised. It's like he's gone. He's been gone a long time, Mom. You just refuse to see it. You thought spoiling him was love. It wasn't. It was rot dressed up in affection. I can't live like this anymore. Please, just take me in. Let me come live with you. I'll stay out of your way. I'll do whatever you ask. I just need peace. You were the only person in this family who ever gave me that. I didn't appreciate it before, but I do now. I do. Please let me come back. Do you really think you can just walk back into my life like that? I'll apologize as many times as it takes for every lie, every insult, every time I chose David over you. I'll get down on my knees if I have to. I need you, Bristol. Please. Then go apologize to the wall. over and over until you feel better, because I don't care anymore.
What?
I don't need your apology. It's not gonna fix what's been broken. And it's sure as hell not going to undo all the years you let David bleed this family dry while you look the other way. You made your choice. You kicked me out, remember? Said you wouldn't regret it. Said you didn't need me, so stick with it. Be the strong, proud mother of your golden boy.
Bristol, please.
Don't cry now. You didn't cry when you cut me off. You didn't cry when you stole my money. You didn't cry when you told me to stay away and let you handle things. So don't pretend to fall apart now, not when it's inconvenient for you.
What do I do?
Figure it out, same way I had to, because I'm done. This is the last time I'm answering a call, a message, anything from you.
No, please don't do this. Not now.
Too late. I've got nothing left to give you. Not pity, not sympathy, not forgiveness. Goodbye, Mom. Don't bother calling again. Your number won't exist to me anymore. Immediately, I made sure to delete all the contact details from my mother and my brother. Thanks to that, I haven't received a single troublesome message from either of them since. It wasn't that I wanted to sever all ties with them entirely. It was simply that I couldn't bear the constant barrage of negativity, the persistent guilt trips, and the endless drama. Every time I thought we could start fresh, every time I thought that things might get better, they'd somehow drag me back into their mess. So, I took control for once, made the difficult decision, and cut off all communication. It was liberating, but also heartbreaking. From what I've heard through the grapevine, my brother was taken in by a group of people who had no interest in his well-being, just in his face, his appearance. They encouraged him to work as a host, jokingly saying, "Since you've gone through the trouble of getting plastic surgery, you might as well make the most of it." At first, it seemed like a pragmatic decision. He was going to work, and he had the looks after all. But in reality, it was a hollow attempt to fix a problem that went far deeper than just looks. My brother didn't have the skills to succeed in a field that demanded charm, charisma, and social intelligence. Despite having a somewhat presentable face, the years he had spent avoiding responsibility had left him ill-prepared for any serious job, let alone a job that required him to constantly interact with customers, keep them entertained, and maintain an image. His social skills were practically non-existent, and his ability to engage with people was severely lacking. The moment he entered that world, it became apparent that he was completely out of his element. The conversations were awkward, forced, and often painful. Instead of charming the customers or offering them the kind of experience they came for, my brother somehow found a way to make them uncomfortable, drive them away, and create a cold atmosphere that was anything but welcoming. A host's job isn't just about looking good, it's about connecting with the people around you, and my brother couldn't do that. For him, the customers weren't individuals with personalities, but obstacles in the way of his paycheck. It was worse than I could have imagined. The conversations that he struggled to continue didn't just fizzle out, they died a painful death. He was supposed to be this lively, attractive figure that people would want to spend time with, but instead, he became the guy that everyone was eager to escape from. His awkward silences were almost as deafening as the loud, uncomfortable tension he created in the room. For every customer that came through the door, it was one more opportunity for him to fail to meet expectations. And it didn't end there. Eventually, the few customers who were willing to give him a chance didn't stick around. They either left without paying or simply accumulated unpaid balances. The host club, desperate to recoup the losses, pushed the responsibility onto him. His failure was now his financial burden, and it was a burden he couldn't carry. He kept trying to make things right, but instead of earning money to cover his debts, he kept sinking deeper into it. The amount of money he owed only increased with time. For every new debt, there was a new cycle of borrowing to pay off the previous one. And instead of managing his finances or learning from his mistakes, he just dug himself into a deeper hole. The spiral continued, and as his debts grew, so did the consequences. It wasn't just him anymore. My mother was dragged into this mess, whether she liked it or not. She had her own limited sources of income, relying on her pension to cover her basic needs. And yet, somehow, a significant portion of it was now being siphoned off to pay for my brother's debts. My mother, who had spent decades of her life working tirelessly, was now spending her golden years watching as her savings were depleted by a situation she hadn't caused. It's hard to put into words the frustration, the helplessness that came with watching her struggle to make ends meet when all she wanted was peace and security after years of hard work. She didn't deserve to be paying for my brother's mistakes, but that's what happened. Her pension, the one thing she had to rely on, was no longer enough. Instead of securing her future, it was now being used to bail out a grown man who still hadn't figured out how to take responsibility for his life. I tried to reach out once or twice, but I was always met with resistance, with excuses. My brother didn't want to hear the truth, didn't want to face the consequences of his actions. Every time I offered help or guidance, it felt like I was talking to a brick wall. My mother, too, had tried to get him to change. But it was as if nothing would get through to him. Her unconditional love, her desire to see him succeed, was taken for granted. And in the end, it was her who bore the weight of his failures. It hurt to see my mother go through this. It was hard to watch her sacrifice what little she had left just to keep my brother afloat, all while he continued to make poor choices. She had believed in him for so long, had hoped that one day he would snap out of his irresponsible ways, but that day never came. Instead, it felt like he was getting worse, not better. And now, with the mounting debts and the constant pressure, it seemed like there was no way out. The thought of what he had put her through made my stomach turn. It wasn't just the financial aspect of it, it was the emotional toll. My mother had been the glue holding everything together for so long, but now, even her strength was being worn thin. It wasn't just about the money, it was the years of stress, of disappointment, of watching someone she loved destroy his life and, in turn, drag hers down with him. I could feel the weight of it all in my chest. The anger, the helplessness, the frustration, but there was also a sense of guilt. I had cut ties with them, removed myself from the situation to protect my own peace of mind. And yet, I couldn't help but feel like I was abandoning my mother. I couldn't help but wonder if there was something more I could have done. But when I thought about the years of attempts, the years of trying to make my brother understand, I realized that I had done all I could. Sometimes, no matter how much you want to save someone, you can't do it for them. They have to want to change, and my brother had never shown any interest in changing. The truth was, he was a grown man who refused to take responsibility for his life. And no amount of my intervention was going to change that. As I continued to distance myself, I felt a strange mix of relief and guilt. I had my own life to live, and I had to focus on that. But at the same time, I couldn't stop thinking about how my mother was bearing the brunt of it all. It felt like she had been trapped in a never-ending cycle. A cycle that was started by my brother's choices and continued by her unwillingness to let go. I couldn't fix everything. I couldn't make it right. But I knew that I had to let go for my own well-being and for my own future. Watching from the sidelines, all I could do now was hope that my mother would find a way out of the mess my brother had created. Even if it meant I wasn't there to help her anymore. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the sense of hopelessness only deepened. It was as though my brother was trapped in a cycle that he couldn't escape from, a cycle of poor decisions and irresponsible actions that kept spiraling out of control. No matter how many times I tried to make him see reason, no matter how many times I reached out, it was like speaking to someone who couldn't hear me, someone who had already made up their mind to remain in their self-destructive path. And that was perhaps the hardest part to accept, that I couldn't change him. I couldn't save him, no matter how much I wanted to. It was painful, and it was heartbreaking. Every time I saw my mother growing more frail from the stress, her spirit dimming bit by bit under the weight of her love for my brother, I couldn't help but feel the sting of guilt. I had tried to help, I had offered advice, I had intervened, and I had done my best to support both of them, but it was never enough. My mother had spent so many years trying to be the anchor in my brother's life, always there, always hoping, always believing that one day he would turn it around. But as time went on, I began to realize that maybe she was the one who needed saving, not him. The sacrifices she made, the love she gave, all of it seemed to be taken for granted. It was like she was holding on to something that was already slipping through her fingers. And while I couldn't change my brother, I couldn't bear to watch her drown in the aftermath of his failures. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story. Huh?
angel! Finally, you replied to me. I just got a call from the hospital. Is it true? Is Dad really gone?
So, you finally decided to answer, Aaliyah. Yeah, his condition took a sudden turn for the worse yesterday. And this morning, he passed away.
Yes! Finally, it's over! 5 years since he was diagnosed. It's been such a long wait.
What? Aaliyah, did you just celebrate our father's death?
Oh, don't act all high and mighty. Dad's death means one thing, his inheritance. We're talking about a massive estate that's been in the family for generations. Billions in assets. How could I not be excited? I bet deep down you're feeling the same way.
Absolutely not. Bringing up the inheritance right after he passed is beyond disrespectful.
Whatever. Anyway, how's the funeral prep going? You are taking care of it, right?
Of course, I started making arrangements right away. Dad was very meticulous. He left detailed instructions on how he wanted the funeral. We're following them exactly. If everything goes smoothly, the funeral will be held tomorrow.
Good. Then I'll take it from here. You can go home now.
No, I'm staying to help. I've barely slept after being by his side for days, but this is important. He was my father. I need to be here.
Your father? Please. I couldn't care less about your exhaustion. A fake daughter has no place at our father's funeral. Go home. You're not needed.
What?
You're adopted. No blood relation whatsoever. A fake daughter like you has no right to be here, and you're definitely not allowed at the funeral tomorrow.
Wait, Aaliyah, that doesn't matter right now. Blood or not, Dad was still my father. I will be at his funeral tomorrow as his daughter.
Like hell you will. You were never his daughter, and I'll never let you pretend otherwise. Stop acting like you belong, you pathetic fraud.
Excuse me?
Face reality. You are nothing more than a pity case. Dad only took you in because of some workplace tragedy. Your parents were just employees at his company. When they died in that accident, he felt sorry for you. So, out of charity, he brought you into his home. That's all you ever were, a burden he felt guilty about.
That's not true.
The funeral is our final goodbye. Dad deserves to rest in peace with his real family. And you're just some outsider who doesn't belong.
Aaliyah, this is too much. Even if you hate me, throwing a bucket of water on me to drive me away, that's going too far.
I told you not to come. If you won't listen to words, then I have to show you.
How could I not come? I may be adopted, but I grew up as part of this family. I have every right to attend our father's funeral.
Don't call him your father. You're not even related to him. You're a fraud, and frauds don't get to be part of this.
But I was the one who took care of him. From the moment he got sick, I was there. You never visited. Not once. You abandoned him. You didn't even say goodbye.
So what? You were astray and Dad took pity on you. Taking care of him was the least you could do in return. But in the end, you're just a fake. You don't belong at his funeral.
That's so convenient for you. You left all the hard work to me, and now you get to claim ownership over his final moments? I just wanted to say goodbye.
Yeah, right. You're only obsessed with the funeral because of the inheritance. Trying to act all emotional, please.
What?
I already told you. Dad's entire estate belongs to me. A fake daughter like you isn't getting a single cent.
I never wanted his money.
Then there's no reason for you to be at the funeral, right? I'll be so generous and let you visit the grave later. That's enough for a fraud like you.
Aaliyah, please. I don't care about the inheritance. I just want to be there for Dad. I promise. I'll leave right after.
No, you're leaving now. You're nothing but an eyesore here.
But can you even handle the funeral alone?
What?
There'll be so many people coming. Relatives, longtime friends, business partners. You haven't even been home for years. I could help.
I don't need your help. I planned for this. I brought my fiancé.
Fiancé?
Yep. What better time to introduce him than at the funeral? All our relatives will be there, so it's perfect. And with him by my side, we'll get through this just fine.
You're announcing your engagement at Dad's funeral? That's unbelievably disrespectful.
Who cares? Once this is over, the inheritance is mine. With all that money, my wedding is going to be beyond extravagant.
So that's why you care so much about the money. It's not about Dad at all. It's about having a luxurious wedding.
Exactly! I'm getting a custom-made wedding dress from the most famous designer. A massive venue, the best catering. Money is no issue with Dad's inheritance, so hurry up and leave already. You were never part of this family, and you never will be.
Fine, but don't ever ask me for help again. No matter what happens, I won't lift a finger for you.
Ha! Like I'd ever need your help. Now get lost, fake sister. Angel, you've got to fix this right now. The inheritance from Dad that I worked so hard to get is gone.
Huh?
It looks like it was taken. The land I inherited, it's gone. My money is gone.
No way. Did someone posing as a real estate agent contact you?
How did you know? Just like you said, a person claiming to be a real estate agent contacted me. They said everything was going smoothly with Dad's land development project. They mentioned that since I inherited the land, my signature was needed. They told me to sign a contract for the development.
And you signed it, just like they told you?
Well, they promised it would be profitable. They said we were going to build a large shopping mall on Dad's land. I didn't understand all the details, but they promised I'd get money every year. How could I not sign?
No. If you're going to sign something, you need to thoroughly check the details.
I didn't want to go through all that hassle. They said it was a plan that Dad and I had worked on for a long time. So I signed right away, and now it's all been taken from me, which is just horrible.
I feel for you, but this is a textbook scam. If you had checked the details of the contract and the person you were dealing with, this could have been avoided. Dad had been approached many times by shady real estate agents, but he always turned them down.
Wait, what?
Dad was a huge landowner, so there were tons of people who tried to take advantage of him. When word spread that he was in the hospital, it got really bad. Some shady agents even went to his hospital room.
What?
They must have thought he was too ill to make sound decisions, but Dad was sharp until the very end. He saw through all the too good to be true offers and turned them down. I made sure to sit in on those meetings with him. It was eye-opening to see how these bad people tried to approach us and what kinds of stories they told.
If that's the case, you should have told me in advance. Then I could have been more cautious. I wouldn't have been scammed and lost everything.
I told you, don't get involved. I made it clear that we're not a family anymore. I don't care what happens to other people, and I'm not going to warn you.
What?
You said that when you kicked me out of the funeral home.
That's true, but you could have shown some kindness. This is just harassment. Just because I didn't inherit everything doesn't mean you should treat me like this. The fact that I got scammed, that's all your fault.
My fault?
Yes, I'm not the one who got scammed. You're the one who messed up, so you take responsibility. Go and get my land and money back.
Stop saying ridiculous things. I'm not helping, and I won't get involved. I made it clear that whatever happens to you, it's not my problem.
Shut up! A mere adopted child has no right to speak back to me. Take responsibility right now and get it all back. If you don't, I'll make you pay for the land you stole from me.
Enough with the nonsense! If anyone's gonna take responsibility and get it back, it's you, the one who got scammed! How could you let our ancestors' land be taken so easily? It's not just me, the whole family is furious with you!
Huh?
You better get the deed and rights back, you fool! If not, none of us will ever forgive you!
Wait. What's going on? You're not Angel, are you?
You've forgotten already? I'm your uncle, your father's younger brother.
What? Uncle Marcus? Why are you showing up out of nowhere?
Angel wasn't at the funeral, so I came in her place to check on things. Angel had been taking care of my brother for years. We were all worried she might collapse from the shock of his death.
Why would anyone care about this person? Angel is just an adopted child. She's not even a real family member.
You idiot! What does it matter that we're not blood related? From the day my brother took Angel in, she's been as much of a daughter to him as anyone. She's just as important to us as any real family member.
Huh?
What's wrong with worrying about family?
Wait, hold on. You're going too far calling Angel family. She's getting way too cocky.
Angel took care of my brother's every need, more than anyone else. We would visit the hospital from time to time, but Angel was always there. She even took care of the flowers in the vase. Someone who did all of that isn't just family. She's family!
But...
So let me ask you, what have you done? You didn't visit once during his illness, not even once in all those years! And then during the funeral, you were talking about your engagement and inheritance plans behind the scenes. Everyone saw your rude, inappropriate behavior.
What? I'm my father's one and only blood-related daughter. The inheritance is huge, and it's only natural I talk about it early.
If blood relations matter so much to you, then you should get the land back yourself. That land was originally ours. It wasn't meant to be inherited by a non-blood relative like your father. It certainly shouldn't be passed down to you either. Now get it back from them right away.
What? What do you mean by that?
Actually, your father was adopted too. Your paternal grandparents took him in from a family friend.
What?
I don't know all the details, but I heard he lost his real parents in an accident, and when that happened, his grandparents took him in. A few years later, I was born, so neither I nor your father are blood relatives.
What is this story? I've never heard this before.
It doesn't matter that we're not blood related. We didn't care about that, so we never made a big deal out of it.
But...
When your grandfather passed, no one ever said, "Don't let your brother inherit." We all inherited equally. Your father, as the eldest, even got a little more. No one thought that was strange, but it seems you have a different opinion.
What?
If blood relations matter so much, then get the land back now! It was originally our family's property, passed down for generations! It shouldn't be inherited by a non-blood relative like your father! It certainly shouldn't be passed on to you either! Now give it back to me, the one who shares the true family bloodline!
Even if you say that, I can't return what's already been stolen from me.
If you can't return it, why do you dump this on Angel? Why pass your responsibilities to an innocent party like her?
That's...
You're the one who first demanded responsibility. If the land can't be returned, pay the money. You're gonna be held responsible and make compensation.
Are you serious? Do you really think I can pay back the value of that land?
Roughly about $300 million, but you're gonna take full responsibility, and I'm gonna make sure you pay.
I can't do that. I barely have any savings. I've been relying on Dad's inheritance for everything. I've never saved a penny.
Your situation doesn't concern me.
Huh?
If you really can't pay, then explain everything to the family. Explain why Angel wasn't at the funeral, why you've been hoarding the inheritance, and how you got scammed in the first place.
That's going to cause a huge uproar in the family. They're going to be so mad. I'd be too scared to go.
Then get that 300 million ready or make up your mind to explain. Contact me when you're ready to face the consequences.
Angel, what am I going to do? I can't get in touch with my fiancé.
What?
I had no choice, so I thought I'd go apologize to my relatives. But going alone is too lonely, too scary, so I tried to bring my fiancé with me, and then he said, "Don't drag me into this mess." But he's the one who kept pushing me to sign the papers in the first place. He has just as much responsibility as I do, and now he's running away?
Wait a second. Was he there when you signed the real estate scam papers?
Of course! The contract stuff seemed complicated, and I was nervous handling it alone, so I asked my fiancé to come with me. The two of us listened to the real estate agent together. Then my fiancé went, "This is a guaranteed moneymaker. You should sign it now." He kept rushing me, so I just signed.
That sounds like he was part of the scam.
What? No way!
By the way, when exactly did you two start dating? And when did you get engaged?
We started dating last year. He proposed to me the day my dad passed away. We were together when I got the call from the hospital, and he told me, "Even if you lose your family, don't worry, I'll be your family now."
That timing is way too convenient.
Now that you mention it, he did ask a lot of questions about my dad's condition. Wait, was he really part of the scam? Is he seriously never coming back? What about my wedding?
You can't contact him, and you have no idea where he is, right? You can't have a wedding without the groom.
No. Was he really just using me this whole time? My relatives are already blowing up my phone with furious calls. And this morning, I got some weird legal notice. Something about inheritance tax.
Oh, so the tax office has already reached out? You inherited a lot of assets. I imagine the taxes on that must be enormous.
Enormous doesn't even begin to cover it. They're demanding nearly $300 million in taxes.
300 million? Well, your family has been major landowners for generations. I guess it makes sense, but still, that's insane.
Apparently, there are ways to lower the tax burden a little, but I don't know anything about legal procedures. And now my fiancé is gone. Angel, please, help me. I can't do this on my own.
Stop whining and deal with it. You're the one who inherited everything.
Then I'll share some of the inheritance with you. Wouldn't that be fair?
Nope, I don't need it. I'm not claiming any inheritance. It's all yours to handle.
Wait, what? You don't want Dad's inheritance? We're talking massive amounts of land and money.
I'm not struggling financially. Besides, I started my own company a while ago. Dad taught me everything he knew about running a business. That's all I need. I have my company and my memories of him. Nothing else matters. So you're on your own with the inheritance.
Wait. You're saying you own a company?
It's just a small business, nothing fancy. But thankfully, it's stable and doing well. So yeah, I don't need Dad's money, and I'm not getting involved in your mess.
No, please, don't abandon me. Dad's gone, and you're my only family now.
No, we're not family. I remember exactly when you made that clear to me. So that's that. Don't contact me again. I know you're in a tough spot, but you'll just have to deal with it. Take care, Aaliyah. After everything had unfolded, my sister, Aaliyah, made a shocking decision to flee the country. It wasn't something anyone had expected, and certainly not something anyone thought would be the solution to her mounting problems. In her mind, however, it was the only option left. She had reached the breaking point. At this rate, I have no choice but to run away. There's no future for me if I stay. All I see ahead is being scolded by their relatives. And as for inheritance tax, I don't even understand what it is. But if I go abroad, I can find a new handsome fiancé, start fresh, and forget all about this mess, she declared, her decision resolute. Almost immediately, she packed her bags, grabbed her passport, and headed for the airport. It was a bold move, one that she believed would liberate her from the consequences of her actions. Her thoughts were clouded with a sense of desperation, but in her eyes, there was still hope. Hope that somewhere far away she could escape the fallout of her reckless choices. She dreamed of a new life, one where she could reinvent herself and leave the past behind. The idea of running away to a distant land where no one knew her, where no one would judge her for the mess she had made, seemed like the perfect escape. However, unbeknownst to her, the authorities had already anticipated her every move. IRS had been following her every step, tracking her financial dealings, and they were one step ahead of her, ready to intercept her plan before she even set foot on the plane. Aaliyah's scheme to flee the country came to an abrupt halt the moment she was arrested at the airport. The charges were severe. Tax evasion, a crime that could have far-reaching consequences. It was almost poetic in a sense, after everything she had done to try to avoid facing the consequences of her actions. It was her attempt to escape that led to her undoing. The authorities were quick to arrest her, and the situation spiraled from bad to worse. She had no time to make any last-ditch efforts to salvage her freedom. The arrest was swift, and before she knew it, Aaliyah was under investigation for her involvement in a massive tax evasion scheme. As for me, I had already completed the necessary legal processes to renounce any claims to the inheritance. I had signed the paperwork for inheritance renunciation months before, realizing that the burden of it all was something I did not want to carry. It wasn't just the financial aspect that weighed on me. It was the emotional toll of dealing with a family that had become increasingly toxic. I wanted no part in it, and so I had distanced myself from the entire affair. It wasn't long before I heard that not a single one of our relatives came to Aaliyah's aid. I had expected some distant relative, perhaps someone who didn't fully understand the situation, to step in and try to help her, but that didn't happen. Instead, they distanced themselves from her just as I had done, unwilling to take on the weight of her reckless actions. They all knew that Aaliyah had brought this upon herself, and none of them felt obligated to lend a hand. I heard rumors that the tax evasion charges had not only led to her arrest, but had also caused her to owe an even larger sum than originally anticipated. What was once a manageable amount had ballooned into a staggering debt, one that Aaliyah would never be able to pay off. The inheritance she had hoped to claim, the wealth she had counted on as her escape, was now slipping through her fingers. And the repercussions of her actions were only just beginning to unfold. Aaliyah's decision to try and flee the country had been a desperate attempt to escape not only the legal consequences of her crimes, but also the responsibility of inheriting a massive estate, an estate that was now being dismantled. The once prosperous land, passed down through generations, was no longer in her hands. The family legacy, something that had been carefully cultivated for centuries, was crumbling as a result of her misguided choices. Aaliyah had managed to squander it all, her greed and poor judgment ensuring that the estate would not survive under her watch. The land that had once been a symbol of the family's strength and prosperity was now in danger of being sold off piece by piece to pay for her mistakes. The tax debt, coupled with the legal fees and fines from her criminal charges, was simply too much to bear. The family's vast holdings were slipping away, and by the time the authorities were finished with their investigation, the estate would be all but gone. The generational wealth that had been built over the centuries was evaporating in a matter of months. And it was all because of Aaliyah's selfishness and her refusal to take responsibility for her actions. I couldn't help but feel a mixture of sadness and anger as I thought about what was happening to the family's legacy. It wasn't just the financial loss that bothered me, although that was significant enough. It was the sense of betrayal, the realization that Aaliyah had squandered everything without any regard for the consequences. She had chosen to live in denial, to believe that somehow she could avoid the repercussions of her actions. And now, the entire family was paying the price. The news of her arrest and the subsequent unraveling of her life spread quickly. Relatives who had once been loyal to Aaliyah began to distance themselves from her even further. They saw her as a liability, a burden that no one wanted to carry. Aaliyah's actions had left them all in a difficult position, and many of them quietly washed their hands of the situation. It wasn't just that they didn't want to get involved, it was that they could no longer justify standing by someone who had caused so much damage. The trust had been broken, and there was no way to repair it. Aaliyah's arrest marked the end of an era for the family. The once strong ties that bound us all together were now frayed and broken. What had been a tight-knit family had become a fractured, distant group. With everyone looking out for their own interests, there was no unity anymore, no sense of shared purpose. The inheritance that had once been a symbol of continuity and stability was now a symbol of greed, betrayal, and loss. As the days passed, I reflected on how everything had gone so wrong. How did we get to this point? How had a family that had once been so close-knit fallen apart so completely? Aaliyah's decision to run away had been the catalyst, but it wasn't the root cause. The root cause was her inability to face the consequences of her actions, to take responsibility for what she had done. And now, everyone was paying the price. The news of the estate being sold off to pay for her debts reached me not long after. The land, which had once been a source of pride and a symbol of the family's legacy, was being broken up and sold. The once grand property was being divided into smaller parcels, each one sold off to the highest bidder. The estate was being dismantled piece by piece, the wealth that had been built over generations slipping away into the hands of strangers. The family legacy was being erased, all because of Aaliyah's refusal to face the music. At the end of it all, I was left with a bitter sense of closure. Aaliyah's escape, her attempt to flee the consequences of her actions, had failed miserably. And in the end, it wasn't just her future that was destroyed, it was the future of the entire family. The inheritance that had once seemed so promising was now a distant memory, and the estate that had been the heart of the family's wealth and power was no more. As I thought about Aaliyah's actions, I couldn't help but wonder how she had ended up in this position. Looking back, it was almost as if she had been blind to the consequences of her actions from the very beginning. The idea of running away seemed to have been her ultimate escape plan, a desperate measure to flee from the mounting pressure that she had built up over time. But in reality, it wasn't just the family estate, the inheritance, or even the tax evasion charges that had led her to this point. It was her refusal to take accountability for her life, her decisions, and the people around her. Aaliyah had always been the type to avoid responsibility. Even when things were going well, she often relied on others to clean up the messes she created. Her relationships, her financial decisions, her actions, they were all impulsive, driven by short-term desires rather than long-term consideration. She had been chasing the illusion of quick success, of an easy way out, not realizing that those who built things over time, with care and attention, were the ones who truly succeeded. But instead of learning from the struggles of others, she continued to follow her own misguided path. The more I reflected, the clearer it became that her escape wasn't just a physical one. It was also an emotional and psychological attempt to leave behind everything she felt responsible for. When she boarded that plane, she wasn't just running from the authorities or the tax officials, she was running from the very life she had created. A life that had been tainted by poor choices, by her neglect, and by her refusal to understand that real wealth came from building something sustainable, not just taking what was easily available. But even in her attempt to escape, there was no real freedom for Aaliyah. As much as she believed she could run to a distant place and rebuild her life, the consequences of her actions would always follow her. She might have fled the country physically, but her past, her debts, her mistakes would have caught up to her sooner or later. No matter where she went, those mistakes would continue to define her unless she faced them and took responsibility. Unfortunately, Aaliyah never understood that. Instead, she thought that running away, trying to erase everything, was the solution. As the authorities continued their investigation, the full scale of her tax evasion became clear. It wasn't just about a simple mistake or an oversight. This was a deliberate, calculated act of deception. She had hidden her income, falsified documents, and misrepresented her financial situation for years. The debts were staggering, and the fines for her actions were even worse. What she had done was no small crime, and now, as the authorities pieced together the full extent of the fraud, the punishment became more severe. The financial strain on the family was immense. What had once become a sprawling estate, a symbol of generational wealth and legacy, was quickly dwindling. The land was being sold off piece by piece to cover the taxes and fines that Aaliyah had accumulated. The family had always prided itself on maintaining a connection to the land, to its history and heritage, but now the once proud estate was being broken apart. The houses, the fields, the forests, everything that had been passed down for generations was now being auctioned off, no longer in the family's hands. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.